So, who is Wataru Endo? I mean, after Liverpool's saga with Lavia and Casado and a lot of other players, it's nice to see a signing pretty much get confirmed for about 16 million or so. And I personally have not really heard of him. I've seen him a few times, see him on video games, or I won't lie, I haven't seen many Stuttgart games. But this video is just to go a bit more in depth to just see who Endo really is and what he can offer to Liverpool. So let's get into it. So we'll just do a quick introduction on who Wataru Endo is. And so he was born in Japan, Yokohama, in 1993, so I mean he's 30 years old. He's roughly about 5'10", and he started his career at Shonan Bellmare, where he fluctuated between the J2 and the J1 league, before in 2016 moving to the Urawa Red Diamonds, where he then stayed in the J1 league for another 3 seasons. Then in 2018 he moved to the Belgian Pro League, where he played 2 seasons for Saint-Truden. And then in 2019 he went on loan to Stuttgart, where they were in the Bundesliga 2 for 1 season, and then in April 2020 he made his move permanent. He then played 3 seasons in the Bundesliga for Stuttgart until now, where he has agreed to sign for Liverpool for 16 million. So here we are. I think one of the big issues that has hindered this Liverpool team for the past 2 seasons, so with Fabinho's decline, is just the lack of protection for the defence. But if you look at the stats regarding Endo, then it's really positive. According to Sky Sports, in the past 3 seasons, he's one of only 3 players to make 200 tackles, and then one of only 2 players to win the ball back 400 times in the middle of the pitch. And if you look at the Bundesliga stats last season, only 3 players in the entire league won more duels than him. Endo won 439, and the only 3 players ahead of him were Jonas Hector, Jude Bellingham, and Philip Hoffman. So it shows that he wins the ball back in the middle of the park, which can only help Liverpool because that's how we spearhead the attack and that's how we get on the counter-attacks. But it also helps protect the back line, which, like I say, needs to happen because in previous seasons there's just been too much of a hole going straight towards the back 4, which has hindered the defence quite a lot. And what is one of the main requirements in a Jurgen Klopp team? It's fitness, it's the distance you cover. And if you look at Endo last season, he was 7th in distance covered at 356 kilometres, which is an insane amount. And it just shows that he's going to get about the pitch, he's going to be everywhere, and he's just going to be one of those pests in the midfield that you can even start or bring off the bench, and he's just going to be that impactful defensive midfielder that you need. And also, at just 5'10", Endo averaged about 2.28 aerial duels won last season, which you compare to Fabinho, who averaged about 1.01 per 90. And Fabinho, is a lot taller. He's a very lanky player. And Endo at 5'10", that's really impressive because he must have a really good leap on him. And last season, Liverpool got the most set-piece goals at 17. So that can only help us if, he might come up for corners, or he might get involved, or he might help defending corners, and just winning more duels in the middle of the park, because I think that's something that we really struggled with in central midfield, because I don't see players winning many headers. To be honest, I think Thiago is probably our best in the air in centre midfield. And with all these impressive defensive stats, he only got 3 yellow cards last season, which, considering he was 5th most in duels, compared to Fabinho's 11 as well, it just really helps Liverpool in our central midfield if they don't concede set pieces, if they don't have players, get suspended from too many bookings, and if his discipline's that good and his tackle rate is fantastic, then again it's only going to help bolster that midfield and protect that defence, which, as we saw in the Chelsea game, does need protecting. What's also really impressive is Endo's ability to go forward. Last season in the Bundesliga, only 4 players, who were Jamal Musiala, Moussa Diaby, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Rafael Guerreiro, created more chances from open play, which is pretty impressive from a defensive midfielder. And also last season, from goals scored outside the box, Endo placed 4th in that category with 3. So it shows that he can just offer that extra attacking threat, which I think Liverpool haven't had in the last few years. And even more stats, which I found off Sky Sports. In the final third, he was 14th in passes completed. He was 11th in through balls completed with 5, and he was 33rd in passes completed as a whole, which he completed 1,164. So it just shows he seems a jack of all trades, to be honest. He can defend, he's got really good defensive stats, but he's not limited to that. He can also offer quite a lot going forward, which, coming off the bench, which I presume he probably will, as Liverpool probably bring in another player, it just can only be beneficial, because if you need him in centre mid, he can play there. If you need him in the holding mid, he can also play there, which I think we really needed in recent years. I also just wanted to compare the heat maps between Endo of last season and also Fabinho of last season. And if you look at it, despite Endo being in a relegation favourite, I think they scraped it by just one place last season. I think he scored the winning goal against Mönchengladbach to keep them up. If you compare it to him versus Fabinho, who also, he plays for a top four challenging team who are mostly on the front foot in the attacking third, it shows that Endo seems to get in quite attacking positions, even though he should, normally be defensive and, guarding his own back line. So I think that's quite impressive. And if this signing does get over the line, I'll be really interested to see how attacking he is going to be, because the defensive stats, speak for themselves, but to have fifth most chances created from open play after all those four players, who one of them also now plays for Liverpool in Szoboszlai, I think it's so impressive. And I've personally seen, a lot of YouTube compilations now of him, and he always looks great on that. They all do. But from the stats, it is just interesting to see that he does seem a good player. And for only 16 million, I really like it that we seem to have got the Japanese national team captain and also the Stuttgart captain, because it brings experience, and it's not just a 19-year-old who needs to work his way in. I feel he's going to fit in straight away and proper add to the Liverpool team. And if you want a former player's opinion, Mario Gomez, one of the best German strikers of the last 2 decades. Called Endo a really great player when they played at Stuttgart together, and also an example of how a team sport should be played and how it should look. Which, if you want a team sport, how it should be played, Jurgen Klopp is the ideal manager for that. So if he's bringing in an experienced captain who seems very team orientated, I think that can only be, a match made in heaven for them. But I just wanted this to be a quick introduction. It's beneficial for me as well, because I didn't really know much about him, and you can watch all the highlights you want. It's good to get a bit more detail on him, and we'll only see how good he is when he puts on a red shirt and plays, at Anfield. But I'm happy about it. I like getting the captains in, and I like adding to the depth. I believe we'll still have to Amrabat from Fiorentina, which again I'd really like, because I like the look of him. But from what I can see, Endo could be a really good player for us, and just add to that, hard-working team ethic that Klopp has tried to instill in the squad over the last, 8 years. But if you like the video, if you could like and subscribe. If you think Endo's going to be a good player, again, I'm really hopeful. I like the look of it. It's a cheap signing, which I like when Liverpool do this, and it just adds to the depth, and it can add to the, just the squad harmony. He's got a few Bundesliga lads that he's played with. Klopp has managed Dortmund, so he knows the league, and he knows hard-working players. And I hope it's going to be a good signing. And after all this Caicedo and Lavia stuff, it's nice to just get a signing through the doors. But yeah, if you could like and subscribe, comment if you think he'll be good or not, or tell me what you know about him, because I still need educating as well. But yeah, thanks for watching.